These are my this is my Van Ginkel shirt. As you can see, can be purchased at the team store. All proceeds go to flood relief in Iowa. So, figured I'd show Gink a little love because he's been playing some good ball, and a lot of our guys have been playing some good ball. So, yeah, tough game against a very good opponent. Last Sunday. Gritty performance really across the board, ebbs and flows of a game, and that's just kind of how it goes this time of year. Two good teams. I thought, a lot of credit to Arizona. I think their players, their coaching staff, they had a good plan. They played very, very well. I actually texted Drew last night and told him that, this was tough getting ready for him, tough game. So, kudos to them. But I thought our guys, we played well. They played hard also. They made plays when we needed to. Obviously, keeping them out of the end zone, in the red zone, that was big and something that we've been talking about quite a bit over the last few weeks. Every stop in the red zone's, a big stop and kind of keeps us in the game. And then the 2-minute stop at the end of the game was obviously, I think we came up big in a big situation. So proud of the guys. Obviously we had a few injuries and had some guys step in and play well. I thought Fabian played really well, stepping in for Gilly. I thought the coverage was tight. They made a couple of throws. They had a couple, interference penalties, which, you never want those. But I thought overall, when you really watch it, snap after snap, the coverage was tight. I thought he played really well. I thought we had, a number of guys play well. Murph with the big interception, which he's been playing some really good football. Shaq at the end of the game. And then JG is just playing lights out. I mean, he's the big play at the end of the game, but just snap to snap. It's hard to think anybody's, he's playing some high-level football. And he's certainly, I don't know where we're at with postseason accolades, but he should be in the conversation for a number of those, whatever they are, Pro Bowl, All-Pro. We've got a couple guys that, more than a couple, but, a number of guys who fit that mode. So, they're a bunch of unselfish guys. They're never going to say it, so I'll try to advocate for them from that standpoint. Yeah, we've got a number of guys.
Ryan, did you think Jonathan Grenard would be able to give that amount of energy with what he was dealing with health-wise?
Yeah, I mean, that last series, he was certainly had put forth, a great effort up to that point. And as you would expect, he was gassed to the point where, it's, 3rd and 10 going into 4th and 10. And, we got to have our best player out there. So the conversations, hey, we need a timeout right here. So let's line it up. Let's take a look at, what they want to do, and let's try to call a timeout and get them back in there. And we still weren't sure, at that point. But he grabbed his helmet and jumped back in. That's the type of player he is. And again, I feel like I say this every week. We're lucky to have him.
Hey, Brown, Fabian Moreau, I think you guys brought him in midsummer. Just what was your experience with him, and what have you been, or what have you seen behind the scenes with him?
He's a pro's pro. If he wants to coach down the road, he can certainly do that. He's got a lot of ball in front of him. I'm not saying that, but, he's very smart, understands the game. He's great for, both the veteran players like Harrison Smith and Gilly to just bounce questions off of, concepts. Certainly for the young guys, he's an experienced player who's, made a lot of plays and played a lot of football in his career. And I feel like, with the attrition in this league, you know at some point we were going to need him, and he was ready to go. He certainly was ready to go. So
He's played a lot in his career, but what's the level of difficulty in terms of just coming in, quote-unquote, cold in that situation and playing that many snaps?
I think he prepares as if – I shouldn't say I think. I know he prepares as if he's going to go in at any point. I think he's been in the league long enough to know that, things happen quickly, and when your opportunity presents itself, you got to be ready to go. I know he's, constantly saying that to younger players. I think that's something we all talk about. You never know when that opportunity is going to present itself, and when it does, the preparation has to be there in order to have the kind of confidence to go out there and perform. He was confident going in. The coverage was sticky. It was tight. Like I said, they made a couple, good throws and good catches, but, he was contested on a lot of those too. I thought he played really well.
What do you think of just everything he gave you throughout that one?
Same thing. It's the body of work over the course of the game. It was a little bit more man coverage in the game, so he was chasing guys around and, being physical at the beginning of the route. Thought he played well, and obviously had the big play at the end. And really, Murph is, playing some high-level football. He's, another guy who, if there are accolades here at the end, he should certainly be in the running. I think he's, we challenged him early in the season on, a number of things: coverage, tackling, taking advantage of those opportunities, because he missed a couple early in the year, and he's really kind of responded and been one of our best players, and he's playing at a high level right now.
Well, Jaylen Redmond got a game ball from
Yeah.
TCO. What were your first impressions of him when you saw him, and when did he start to pop for you?
Well, I mean, the game ball, I was just so happy for him. I think it's, I think he's got a long career in front of him. But his journey, I think we've talked about that, to go from, being out to feeling like maybe he'll never get back into the league, to playing in the XFL, to getting another opportunity, to, playing in games and making, plays that affect the game and help us win, to getting a game ball. I mean, I think I was just happy for him, But, when we first got him, I mean, I think the athleticism jumped out immediately. He's got quickness. He's got, range as far as, some guys are, tackle. I mean, this guy can run. I think you saw that on Sunday. He can run. He's physical, but he's also smart. He wants to get better. I mean, we were talking last week about some of his stunt footwork, and he takes the coaching, he applies it, and it showed up in game in a positive way. So I think he's a guy who, for other younger players to kind of see his progression, it's good for them. If they could take the coaching and then apply it, and use their, God-given, gifts, talent, and ability, then, they'll have some success and maybe get a game ball.
Brian, when it comes to the red zone and what you guys were able to do, what is the key to making stops in the red zone?
I mean, communication is the first thing that comes to mind. You're going to get the offense's best plays. Whatever they think is the best thing on the call sheet, that's what I mean. To score, that's what you're going to get. So, you got to be ready for every formation, every motion. And I think, we've got to do a great job of communicating, and not allowing a cheap one or an easy one basically because, you and I didn't, we didn't communicate, or, you locked in on a guy and then you got picked. I mean, I think that happens really on a weekly basis. So those are the things that really starts with communication, and then it's our fundamentals, stopping a run, trying not to let them run it in, defending, specific parts of the field, like the flats. I think that's universal. Much easier said than done, given, all of the myriad of ways an offense can get to the flat or get to the, back of the end zone, or, I think they do a great job, or really offensively, most teams do a great job of scheming things up. And you got to be disciplined. You got to have great communication. You got to tackle well. Really, those kind of base fundamentals.
What prompted you to challenge Byron Murphy earlier this season, or if it was other coaches? I'm not sure.
I think at the beginning of the season, there's a challenge really to everyone. I see you playing this type of football over the course of the season from with consistency. Everyone really gets that have that conversation with everyone. But the feeling was we were going to need B. Murph to play well. For us as a defense to play well. I think you kind of, as a the leader of the group, you kind of envision what it'll look like. And there's certain guys that got to play at a certain level for the group to play up to its potential. And he was certainly one of them. Ginkle was also one of them. Cashman was one of them. JG, kind of that, that core group of guys who are, playing significant amount of snaps. Harrison Phillips in his role, John Bullard in his role. So that was really. It wasn't like, hey, Byron was screwing up and we had to do this. It wasn't that. It was more, we want if we're gonna play at this level, we need these 3-4 guys to play at a high level. So that was the challenge, and I would say most of them, have met and exceeded really, those kind of goals or challenges.
Brad, I know we haven't seen a ton of Dwight McGlothern, but just behind the scenes, like what have you seen from him in his development over the course of this season?
I think he's a hardworking kid. Football's important to him. We talk about football chatter all the time. We should be talking about the game, and he's constantly talking about the game, almost too much, to a fault at times. But not to a fault. I say that jokingly. It's important to him. So schematically, we're doing this, or he likes this blitz look, or he likes, would this be a situation where I could jump a route? No, Dwight. He's all in, and I think he'll be ready when his opportunity presents itself. There's a level of patience most young guys have to show, and then there's a learning process here, and you never really know till they get out on the field. There may be an opportunity for him, to make his debut this weekend. We'll see how it all kind of unfolds, but he's done a nice job.
Brian, of all the things Josh is doing each week, is there something through 12 games that you've noticed that you think he's really improved at this season?
Metellus? Yeah. Look, he's one of these guys who's in this, postseason accolades kind of thought process for me. I mean, I'm not sure there's a guy who plays as many different positions as he does, and adds as much value to a team as he does. Is there any one particular thing? I think his run fits when he is playing linebacker are, to a linebacker standard. Certainly that. As a guy who's, 210 pounds playing multiple positions. That's the thing that stands out to me, which is it's a unique skill set he has. His leadership is just a week in and week out, thing that, and his energy and, all those things are, very important to our team and, success, our success as a defense.
What have you seen from Kirk Cousins in Atlanta so far?
I think Kirk's, I know the kind of narrative is, he had a tough game last week, but he's played some good football. I think, the people in this building know, what Kirk can do. He's a very, very good quarterback. They got a lot of really good skilled players. They've put up a lot of points. They're an explosive offense, really across the board. Bijan's a very, very good back. The receiving core, Drake and Mooney. They got a really good, Pitts. They got a good receiving core, good quarterback, good O-line. So, this is going to be a major challenge. We're going to need some crowd noise at a very, very high level. Hopefully that gets out to the masses. But yeah, they've got a good offense. Kirk's playing well. I know, he's a bounce back type of guy, as we all know. So I'm expecting his best, the best version of Kirk, the best version of that offense. And it's going to be a major challenge for us, and we're going to have to prepare the right way to have success against this group.
I know
guys change teams all the time, and there's tons of guys you prepared for that everyone has familiarity with. But what's it like preparing for a guy that so many people, including the head coach, know so well?
I think this part of the week it's we love Kirk. He's a great human being. He's got a great family. Once we step in between the white lines on Sunday, it's we're competing against each other, and he's the exact same way. So I think it might be different for maybe the people outside of the building to kind of what's that like, but. In between the lines, we're all just competing against each other, and we'll shake hands before and hug, and we'll shake hands after. But in those 60 minutes or 3 hours or however long it is, 60 minutes or 70 minutes, or however long it takes, just competing against one another.
I guess that meant, do you get or seek out any more tips or advice than you normally would for a guy who you prepared for that has been around a long time?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's certainly going to be a lot of conversation. I mean, I've got a list of things I'm KO. How's he going to respond to this look, and this look, which we plan on giving him a lot of different looks. So yeah, I mean, I think that dialogue is certainly happening, and I'm sure it's happening on his end as well. He spent the whole year kind of going against us defensively. So he's got a lot of familiarity also. And, at the end of the day, to me, it always comes down to fundamentals and techniques and communication and playing disciplined football and, making plays. We know it's going to be a tough 60-minute ball game. They got a good team. We got a good team. Everyone's kind of in the hunt these last, 5 weeks to get in the dance. So, it's going to be a tough, gritty football game for sure.
You mentioned last year, I think that, the challenges of facing your defense during training camp, especially as they were kind of getting ready, and it was a new defense for him to see. Like, what was your sense of how he kind of rolled with the different looks you guys gave him during camp and during practices over the course of the year, and just the way he handled that end of it from his end?
Yeah, I'm not sure we gave him anything that he hadn't seen before. Look, I think Kirk's seen every defense you could possibly throw at him, and anything new that we had, he's seen that too. Now he's seen it. So I think he's a great quarterback, and we're gonna have to do a really great job from a disguise standpoint, from a crowd noise standpoint. I'll keep reiterating that. From a just fundamentals and communication standpoint, because he can get his team in one call and out of a call or into another call, with a couple hand signals. So, and go up to the line and check the protection, like he's that type of football mind. So it'll be a challenge, and again, we gotta play well.
Did you enjoy playing as much man coverage as you guys did Sunday?
I like to think we're versatile enough and have enough flexibility to do what we need to do to to put ourselves in position to win the game. I think there's some games where that's the only way. You got to get a body on a body. It's got to be tight. Obviously, there's some, potential for, explosive plays and, interference, penalties and things of that nature. But, I've got history playing man coverage and, now playing a little bit more zone coverage. And I think the mix is good. I know the guys were a little gassed after the game. But, I also tell them, it's not every game it's going to be like that. But, when it has to be one of those games, I think we got to be able to do that. And they showed that, and I was proud of the group for that. And we talked about it on the field, like this is what these kind of games feel like, So drink some water, stretch out a little bit, get on the bike, and then we got to go back out there. So they did a great job.
Brian, you have a number of guys who are putting together like career years in whatever it might be, sacks, interceptions, that kind of thing. Do you think that the chemistry impacts players or the way that they play off of each other with the roster, or the chemistry just in the room? Because it just doesn't seem random that a couple of guys would be having this in the same year.
Yeah, I mean, chemistry is a big part of it. I mean, it's a game. There's 11 guys on the field, so when I'm thinking about a football team, a unit, it's not always, hey, the 11 most talented guys who stick them together. I think you get a guy who communicates well with a guy who's super talented, with a guy who can cover well, with a guy who can drop and rush, and with a guy who can only rush. You know what I mean? I think you put all those things together, and you thoughtfully construct and design a system or defense or offense or special teams with kind of that in mind, those different kind of puzzle pieces in mind, and you put them together. I think like you're saying, I think the right group, the right chemistry, that has success, but it's not as simple as, hey, just put the best guys together, because some guys have to communicate a little bit more. Some guys have to do this job a little bit more. And in football, everyone's got a little role, and every game's a little different, and you have to be able to play different styles. And I think we got a really good group. I do. I think they have a great time together. I love coaching them. We got a great staff. They do a great job. Just preparing for every week, every challenge, because we challenge them as a staff on a weekly basis. We have to play this kind of style against this type of team. These are your responsibilities. These are your responsibilities. If you do it, your job, and you do your job. I don't know who's going to make the play, but somebody's going to make the play, and they believe that. And I think that's I think belief determines behavior. They believe in that, and so they go out there and they've been able to get it done. But nobody cares about last week now. We kind of focus on the task at hand, which is this week, and hopefully we keep having fun doing it too. I think that's a big part of it. This team has joy playing together, so it's been good. That's it. Thank you, guys.